The land of Egypt stands mighty, its temples adorned with gold, its people secure under Pharaoh's rule. But beneath the grandeur, a deep injustice festers. The Israelites, once honored guests, now groan under the weight of bondage. Their cries rise to the heavens, and God hears them. Moses, once a prince of Egypt, now returns as a shepherd of God. He stands before Pharaoh, his voice steady, but his heart pounding. Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, let my people go. Exodus 5:1. Pharaoh scoffs, who is the Lord that I should obey his voice? He hardens his heart, and thus begins the greatest display of divine power Egypt has ever seen. Water turns to blood. Moses stretches his staff over the Nile. A crimson wave spreads, the river turning to blood. The fish float lifeless, the water undrinkable. Egypt's lifeblood has become its curse. And the river stank, and the Egyptians could not drink of the water of the river. Exodus 7:21. Frogs cover the land. A croaking chorus fills the air as frogs pour from the riverbanks. They leap into houses, beds, ovens. No place is untouched. Pharaoh, desperate, begs for relief. Moses prays, and the frogs die in heaps, leaving a stench across the land. Lice from the dust, Aaron strikes the dust with his staff, and the air fills with tiny, writhing creatures. Lice cover man and beast alike. Even Pharaoh's magicians admit, this is the finger of God. Exodus 8:19. Swarms of flies. Dark clouds of flies descend upon Egypt, biting and buzzing relentlessly. The land stinks with decay, but in Goshen, where the Israelites dwell, the air remains clear. Pharaoh wavers, but does not yield. Death of livestock. A terrible disease sweeps through the livestock. Horses, donkeys, camels, and cattle collapse. Egypt's wealth crumbles, but Israel's herds remain untouched. Boils break out. Moses throws ashes into the sky, and painful boils erupt on Egyptians and animals alike. Even Pharaoh's sorcerers, covered in sores, can no longer stand before him. Hailstorm of destruction. Thunder roars. Hail mixed with fire rains from the sky, smashing crops and homes. Pharaoh's servants plead with him, but his heart remains cold. Locusts devour the land. A dark cloud rises from the east. Locusts descend like a living nightmare, consuming every leaf, stripping trees bare. Pharaoh begs, and God sends a wind to sweep them into the Red Sea, but still the king resists. Darkness over Egypt. For 3 days, a deep, unnatural darkness covers Egypt. No torch or sun pierces the void. In Goshen, however, light remains. Death of the firstborn son, a final warning. At midnight, the angel of death sweeps through Egypt. The firstborn son of every Egyptian home is struck down. Cries of anguish rise from every house. But in Israelite homes, where lamb's blood marks the doors, the destroyer passes over. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. Exodus 12:13. Pharaoh, broken, finally relents. The Israelites, free at last, march out of Egypt, led by the mighty hand of God. God's sovereignty is absolute. Pharaoh resists, but in the end, no power stands against the Almighty. Obedience brings deliverance. The Israelites who followed God's command were spared. Justice comes in God's time. The wicked may seem strong, but their downfall is certain. God's mercy is available. Even in judgment, God provides a way of escape. The 10 plagues of Egypt are more than just divine punishment. They are a testament to God's power, justice, and mercy. They remind us that God sees oppression, hears cries for deliverance, and acts in his perfect timing. Will we harden our hearts like Pharaoh, or will we recognize his sovereignty and walk in obedience?